reasonable crowd in at NorthPower Stadium to see the Eagles play. They've won their last 2 games here and have won 4 of their last 5 on home soil. Let's have a look at the cards.
And it is the same 17 that accounted for Penrith last weekend, with Brendan Reeves at fullback, Beckett, it's Lenny Beckett and Miles on the wings, McDougall and King the centre pairing, Ben Walker at 5'8", Brett Kimmorley at half. Steve Menzies locks the scrum behind Bailey, Muir, Stringer, O'Mealy and Jeff Tuvey in the front row. He captains the side. And the interchange, Lima, Evans, Dunley and Ebril, their coach Peter Sharp.
Also an unchanged team from the Bulldogs. They beat the Newcastle Knights last week. Patton, El Masri, Howland, Martini, Talau, Anasta and Trindle. Very good last week. Smith, Reardon, Mason, Britt, Price, Craig Pollamata, Scott, Feeney, Ward and Sherwin are on the bench, coached by Steve Folkes.
And as our opening pictures showed, it's a lovely day here on the Central Coast. Andrew's on the sideline.
Yeah, fantastic conditions. And I can tell you, Ray, in this crowd, there's plenty of support for the Bulldogs. Ray, if the Eagles have designs on making the top 4, they have to win today and they have to defend like true contenders. Incredibly, only twice this year have the Eagles conceded less than 20 points in a game.
Paul Simpkins is the referee. And the Dogs will run from right to left in their predominantly blue strip. And O'Master it is that kicks off for the Eagles to bring it back, and that man bringing it back is Mark O'Mealy. His name, without any doubt, will be amongst the 17 chosen for New South Wales in Origin 3, which you'll see next Sunday night. Here's his front row partner, Paul Stringer. And they've done well to take it 37 metres away from their own line. Now Muir, who fits under the same category as O'Mealy, playing it just beyond his own 40-metre line. So Kimmorley, he took a late shot from Darren Smith. When I say late, he couldn't pull out of it, the Bulldogs forward, but he really laid Kimmorley down. Here's the hit.
That's quite spectacular, wasn't it? And that's what Brett Kimmorley can expect this afternoon. I'm sure the Bulldogs will be in his face as much as possible, forcing him to make decisions a little quicker than he would like. Willie Talau takes it 43 out from his own line.
Craig Pollamata at dummy half. As the ball goes loose from the pass from Trindle, and Smith was out there to recover before Patton, and now Martini. He will play the ball just on his own side of halfway. Play on the eastern side of the ground. And Stephen Price in jumper number 10. Willie Mason on his way down the ground for the downtown from Trindle. And I was just watching referee Simpkins keeping a close eye on Mason. Well, the big fella's gone in and assisted in the tackle. I would have been inclined, had I been Simpkins, to blow a penalty there. Played by Beckett now. And Miles is 30 metres away from his own line for Stringer. Opening exchanges, Stringer got the ball away. Oh, beautiful pass by the fullback Reeves. Ben Walker puts a kick in, and it's landed about 5 or 6 metres away from the line. It'll be a penalty where the ball landed. Ben Walker taking a late shot. Lovely pass. I think it was Brendan Reeves, the fullback, eventually, that got the ball away.
Well, they might have had some problems defensively this year, but their attack has been sparkling at times, and that is evidence of it. Wonderful ball from Brendan Reeves. Ben Walker, now Luke Patton. Well, he's between a rock and a hard place, isn't he? But he definitely did interfere with the man kicking.
Perfect record last week. And he's hitting the ball with great confidence, 83% this season for Ben Walker. Chance of being named for Queensland tonight, and he gets the 2 points for the Eagles. They take the early lead. After 3 minutes, they lead 2-0. Braithen Astor doing as he did just 3 minutes ago. And it is Mark O'Mealy again, carrying the ball back with gusto. Second row forward, Phil Bailey.
Very interesting to see how Brett Kimmorley approaches this game. If you remember the first round game between these two teams, the Bulldogs took 4 intercepts off Kimmorley's passes, 3 of them leading directly to tries. And whether or not he tries those long cutout passes today, it'll be very interesting to see how he handles this contest.
Short pass from Kamali, beautiful pass. Walker's down the right side, links up with McDougall. McDougall's pass, oh, that's a knock on. Well, they had a player on the inside unmarked. He's chosen to go to the outside, but probably too late.
Ray, they had an opportunity on the outside as well. Brendan Reeves striding up on the inside. Now McDougall catches and just about passes there to his winger. There's no way known, despite the fact that Brett Howland isn't a speedster, he couldn't have caught the winger. McDougall, blinkers on. By the time he'd looked to pass, Miles had come on the inside. If he'd have given it to him earlier, they would not have caught Robert Miles.
Ironic that Phil Gould would be talking precisely at that moment about how Kamali would attack this game today on the strength of their last meeting, when intercept after intercept were taken. From my memory, it was Braithen Astor and Nigel Wangenaar that night. They had a picnic running off Kamali passes, and then he's put a short ball to Ben Walker, and it opened the Dogs right up. They should have scored. And Astor beating Kamali. Patton unable to beat his man, McDougall.
And Ray, Queensland are looking to spark their attack for game 3. Start from Ben Walker this afternoon is saying, well, yes, I'm your man. Already been in open spaces twice, the leading point scorer in the NRL coming into this game. In fact, we've got the 2 leading point scorers involved in the match. Hazem El Masri second. Of course, is the win for the Bulldogs as Menzies comes inside. Plenty of defence there to meet him just short of halfway.
Team 5 here today, the Dogs, up against the Eagles, who are 8th placed. They've really got a battle on their hands, the Eagles, as Kamali finds Reeves, but Reeves had his back turned on the defence as he takes the tackle. Now Tuvey down the middle, weaving run, picking up Kamali. Kamali fends away. Oh, that's tremendous work by Kamali. He got rid of Willie Mason. It was a David and Goliath battle, and little Kamali with a left-hand fend gets rid of this bloke that's twice as big as him.
But again, we have a look at poor marker defence. Amazing this weekend especially how many tries have been scored because the markers didn't do their job. You will see both the Bulldogs markers move to the left-hand side, and Jeff Tuvey, he's smart enough to go the other way, put the step on Darren Britt, brought Steve Price into the equation, then Brett Kamali, he still had plenty to do. Look at big Willie Mason coming across. He gets thin air. Patton unable to make the tackle as well. So it's been a very good start for the Eagles, and they have finally turned pressure into points.
Vintage stuff as well from Jeff Tuvey. And Ben Walker from right in front. And it goes high and long and bounces out on whatever road it is out there. Northern Eagles 8, Bulldogs no score, 8 minutes gone. Andrew.
Well, Ray, I can only say that the Bulldogs fans will be hoping that they can bounce back as they did last week. If you think back to last Sunday at Marathon Stadium, the Bulldogs conceded 2 tries in the opening 13 minutes. They were down 8-0. They really came out of their slumber in that match, and that's exactly what they're in at the moment, in defence, a slumber.
So Menzies taking the kick off, almost out of the clutches of Lenny Beckett. And the Kangaroo International, Menzies, plays the ball for O'Mealy to take it forward on the second play. So 8-0 in favour of the Northern Eagles. A converted try and a penalty goal. And as Andrew quite rightly pointed out, it's a similar set of circumstances to the ones the Dogs found themselves in last weekend. Tuvey. And Walker is really hit hard by Talau. Walker looking around as though to say, what hit me, and was it high? And Talau's right arm has gone dangerously up over the top of the ball, as the Dogs now get a penalty. That was a real bone-jarring tackle from Talau on Walker, as the Dogs now find the line. Or do they? They don't. That could prove costly. Miles going back to try and hurt them. 9 minutes of the game gone. O'Mealy, and the pass was bad. Now I thought it came off the hand of El Masri to a player in front of him.
First one, Northern Eagles.
And referee Paul Simpkins has seen knock-ons against both sides. There's one. Now here's another one. And so he goes back and plays the first breach. And we're going to have a scrum pack down with the Dogs feeding. Darryl Trindle right on halfway. Crowd on the eastern side, basking in beautiful Central Coast sunshine. And basking in the glory of an 8-0 lead at the moment. Anasta is put down. Polomouta using Reardon, who was concussed in that game last weekend, and again a power player has been penalised for rolling the ball through the legs. Incorrect play the ball as the penalty on Reardon.
Trying to get something happening. The Bulldogs looking for quick play. The ball's not really an attempt there to get his foot to. The ball just threw it back between his legs. Paul Simpkins right. It's one of his pet hates, Paul Simpkins. His discretion's in the play the ball. He's very tough in that area.
So O'Mealy, Mason and Britt launching themselves. Here's Stringer. They're 20 metres out, right in the centre of the ground for Tuvey now. This is Kamali. Oh, heavens above, was that a tackle? Darren Britt on Adam Muir. Ben Walker, now Menzies. Menzies gets it away. The Eagles are in again. Andrew King has touched down for the Northern Eagles' second try.
Well, a great shot here from Darren Britt, inside ball to Adam Muir. Copybook stuff that, and Darren Britt does a great job to actually make the tackle on Steve Menzies, forcing him to pass the football here. But the Bulldogs' defence, really ineffective. Britt slow to come across after making that tackle. That opened up the gap, and Steve Menzies so good on his feet. A simple ball to Andrew King, who makes a habit of getting over the try line. And again, Ben Walker heavily involved, attracting two defenders to open up the inside man.
And we haven't had to wait long to see how Brett Kamali is going to handle this today. The Bulldogs racing up on his outside, looking to put pressure on. So he's gone to the inside passes. First Muir back on the inside. Then Menzies found the gap. Andrew King supported for the try. But Brett and Mason, congratulating themselves on the big hit on Muir, were slow across in defence. And then the gap opened up for Kamali and Menzies.
So Walker from right in front. No trouble converting. The try scored by Andrew King. 14-0, Northern Eagles over Bulldogs. And quite a shock scoreline. I think the majority of pundits were tipping a Bulldogs victory. It is 14-0. Two converted tries and a penalty goal for the Eagles. And the Dogs find themselves in very deep water. One consolation might be that the Eagles led like this last weekend and fell apart. Well, that was incredible how this Northern Eagles player was able to get that ball in. It was the second row of Phil Bailey. Here they go again down the left side. The kick for Menzies. He won't make it.
Well, it's all one-way traffic, isn't it? And that was a nice kick. The far winger, Lenny Beckett. This was the play beforehand. No knock on there. Slips catch. The Eagles now. Good attacker, 25 out centre field. Tuvey comes to the right.
Ben Walker finding Ben McDougall. His legs knocked from under in by Willie Talau. Here's Stringer. 11 metres away from the Dogs line. Kamali. Menzies! Try number 3. Looks like it's not far away. Stringer goes for it. Does he get it down? Referee checks with touch. Judge points to the spot. It is number 3. The Northern Eagles have scored again.
Just no reaction time, no urgency.
Here again, the right-hand side defence relaxes when the ball looks as though it's going to go to the left. Stringer did a good job to worm his way across there.
Ben Walker is 15 metres in from touch, 20 metres out from the Brisbane Water end of the ground.
Steve Folkes must be beginning to wonder
Oh.
which team is going to turn up. This is the Bulldogs v Canberra.
32 block they got beaten against Canberra, prompting their hooker Craig Polamander to apologise to the fans. Then they turned it around last weekend, and now they've returned to the form of a fortnight ago. Ben Walker converts. There are 20 points on the board for the Eagles, and I can't find anything for the Dogs. 17 gone, Andrew.
Well, both these teams are the Jekyll and Hyde teams of the competition. The stats from that match against Canberra for the Bulldogs 3 weeks ago, they missed 44 tackles and made 16 handling errors. A comment from Peter Sharp coming into the game. He said he's concerned with the difference between the Eagles' best and the worst. Well, happily for Peter today, he is seeing their best.
And this is Bailey, the second row forward, tackled 20 metres out from his own line.
But as you pointed out, Ray, last weekend against the Panthers, the Eagles led by 18 points after half an hour. And later on in the match, also 18 points. The Panthers got to within 2 at one stage. I'm sure that he is stressed all week. It does not happen again. Danny Lima coming into the action as Muir takes it over the 40.
So Lima coming on to take the place of Paul Stringer. And it's Kamali punching it down into the southwestern corner. They're really up on their toes here, the Eagles. They're applauding everything that their teammates do. They've really come here to play amidst newspaper reports that they are in financial trouble. And their chief executive was heard to say that he would be tempted to think it's a 50-50 chance of survival for the joint venture club. There was talk of the players not even being paid at the end of the year. Well, they don't look like a bunch of players that are not about to get paid their salary the way they're playing.
Also a big incentive clause from their new sponsor that if they win the competition, there's a $2 million bonus. Perhaps that's on their mind. Might be the only way out for them at this stage.
Darren Smith. Oh, gee, that looked a bit high from Lima. And more replacements getting ready this time for the Dogs. I think it's Jamie Feeney who'll come on. And now Braithen Astor kicking off his own 30-metre line. It's a very big kick, reminding me that there might be just a shade of breeze coming off that southern end that's actually helping the Dogs in the first half. If it is, it's not translated to the scoreboard. Play by Miles, and now O'Mealy. It's very much home turf for him. He'd enjoy these games at NorthPower. And the ball has been lost. He won't enjoy that, but the scrum will go down.
It's a real mental battle now for the Bulldogs. I guess on the way up here today, if someone told them you're going to win this game 24-20, they'd have thought, well, that sounds like a pretty reasonable scoreboard. They then said, well, you're going to be down 20-0. What would your attitude be? And I guess that's the attitude they've got to take into it. There's an hour left in this game. They've got to look at the Eagles not scoring again for the next 60 minutes if they're any hope of rounding up this lead.
Gus, they might not come out for the second half.
Feeney. He really had a tremendous game last weekend against Newcastle. Maybe he can spark something for the Dogs. As Trindle now takes it towards the 20-metre line, picks up Darren Smith out a little bit wider, and that's where they are. They're right on the 20, almost in centre ground. They go to the right. Trindle puts a kick in. Beckett is there to field it, and that didn't really offer too many palpitations to the Eagles.
Just on that, Gus, is that what you say at half-time in this situation, that, all right, gentlemen, we can do something special here. We've got ourselves into a hole, and it will take something at our very best to get us out, and that's the assignment that faces us.
Well, that's all you can say. I mean, the opposition's got their 20 points. It's up to ours to get ours. And really, the Bulldogs have had no quality possession yet. It's been all one-way traffic for the Eagles. A lot of that's been brought about by Bulldogs' mistakes. Here's an opportunity, lost ball.
And here comes the other centre, Martini now. Price. ...20 metres in from that far touchline. 25 metres out. Anasta And this is Feeney. Blindside raid. They've created numbers. Howland, good defence. Well, he swatted him. It was Jeff Tuvey. He wouldn't find too many blokes his own size. He found one in Howland, and then he really delivered.
Great experience there from Jeff Tuvey. On that shot, it showed that he actually went in on an opposition player, 3 in. There's Jeff Tuvey in field, who's left his man now, realising there was an opportunity down the side. Great experience, great enthusiasm from the old campaigner, Jeff Tuvey.
So the Eagles will come away from their own line with about 17 and a half minutes of this opening half remaining. Lima. That is Bailey. Now Beckett cleaning up what was an unnecessary pass. Wayne Evans is on. This is him taking a buffeting from the Bulldogs defence. And now Tuvey for Menzies, catch and pass. Intercepted by El Masri. And I guess if the Dogs are ever looking for somebody to lift them out of the mire, this little fellow has done it so many times. And that was shades of the showgrounds when they first met this year. There were intercepts available all over the park. And eventually one has presented itself today at exactly the right time for the Dogs.
You may have come here today expecting intercept, but I wouldn't have thought in that fashion. You're thinking long balls. On that occasion, actually the Northern Eagles had worked themselves into a very good position. Unfortunately, the pass from Phil Bailey trying to put his winger away was well read by Hazem El Masri, and he had to read it well because he was already on his way in to make the tackle to try and snuff out the overlap. Then he changed direction, threw the right arm out, and he scored one and probably saved one. So it may well be a 12-point turnaround.
I've coached a number of teams that have played against this man, and I always said to my left centre, do not throw the pass, throw the dummy when El Masri is on top of you. 9 times out of 10, I'll make it 99 times out of 100, he will threaten the tackle and then play the football. And more often than not, if you throw the dummy, you will beat him, you will leave him behind. But that time, a quick hands there. He came in, threatened the tackle, threw the arm out, knocked it up, and he gets an opportunity to convert his own try, and a very valuable try to the Bulldogs. That's 4, 16 to go.
Eagles coach Peter Sharp is in the box next to us. He was looking okay about 5 minutes ago. The furrows on his brow have just deepened. Maybe he's thinking about last weekend. Don't tell me it's going to happen again. I don't think so. They're playing confidently. In fact, I think they're probably playing a little bit too confidently. As was instanced, I feel, by Bailey trying to throw an unnecessary ball just prior to all of this. But this little fellow is a wonderful competitor. Hazem El Masri, his kick is online. The flags are up. The Dogs are on the board. They had to be the next on the board. 20 points to 6 is the scoreboard. Ben Walker, as we welcome stations back from commercial breaks on the 9 network. You're watching your Sunday afternoon telecast. And the Eagles, in what was a one-sided affair, it probably still is, I suppose, looking at the scoreboard, 20 points to 6. This is a good run by Talau. Spirited effort, and they need a few more of them. Here's Darren Smith trying to do something. Out of dummy half, El Masri's away again. Tuvey's after him. El Masri tries to beat him, and Tuvey pulls off a great tackle. Well, the little fella has pulled off a couple of corkers. Howland over on this side earlier, now Anasta kicks. Feeney's after it, Howland's after it, and Miles takes it for the Eagles.
Well, here's El Masri. There's a belief that he's actually gone into touch and been allowed to play it. No, he didn't. His heel was an inch. And unfortunately, the bounce did not favour Brett Howland. actually went back and Robert Miles was able to go back and clean up. So a let off there for the Eagles, but as Ray pointed out, Peter Sharp will not be happy in the last couple of minutes. They are starting to miss tackles.
Lima, with the exception of Jeff Tuvey, of course, Pete. His performance on Howland and then on El Masri, the other winger. As I said earlier about Tuvey, I used the word vintage Tuvey. Beautiful stuff. Now Kamali. Lima. Morley. Luke Patton. And the touch judge in.
Yeah, this was clumsy by Kamali. A good grubber kick down the short side. Had Patton under pressure. He races through. Patton, a little right foot jolt. And the ball arm, just swinging right arm, comes up and collects him underneath the chin. Nothing really bad in it. It did come up off the shoulder as Kamali is demonstrating to the touch judge. But it was a little clumsy.
You're allowed to have your arm out as long as you get hard on the chest. That's all right. The touch judge reported you hit him high. Okay. Penalty there. We're looking at them both.
12 minutes of this game remaining in the first half. And apart from the fact that the Eagles have scored 3 tries to 1 and have had by far the better of the game, it certainly has had plenty to offer. Some good tries have been scored, some excellent defence, some very big hits early, and then some wonderful cover defence by Tuvey in the latter part of the first half. Is that Barry? Big bad Barry is with us. Here's Polomata, a dummy, then a pass, then a Nasta, and he's turned it inside with his back turned. Evans has tried to unload in similar fashion. It's gone into touch with Evans, I fancy. So if that be the case, it'll be a Bulldogs loose head and feed.
You're 100% right, Ray, and it's a good break for the Bulldogs. Little opportunity presented itself down the short side, and Nasta ran out of room, tried to get it back inside. Picked up there by Wayne Evans. He couldn't keep himself in the field of play, and a let off for the Bulldogs. It does present them with another good opportunity.
Ball get in. Let it get in. No strike until the ball's in.
Trindle
Go in seconds.
put a kick in the hand there. Mentioned it to the referee, but it's play on. Trindle goes back to Howland, who's come off the left wing. Play on the right side of the ground. Martini. And the Dogs, with 10.5 minutes of the first half remaining, have got 4 tackles on this set. Brett Ward. What a really strong hit from Adam Muir. He was on the end of one himself earlier. There he was delivering. A Nasta for Smith. Smith for Feeney. Feeney can't unload. He's 5 metres out from the line though. Patton it is now for Trindle. Trindle wide for Britt. Britt down for Polomata. Dummy from Polomata. He's over Craig. Polomata scores for the Dogs. Well, that's exactly what Steve Folkes needed. 20 points to 10, conversion attempt to come.
He does well, the big man here, because if he was wrapped up, the play was finished.
Yeah, excellent pass from Darren Brett. Realised that he could be taken out there, turned his back, offered the ball to Polomata. Some nice footwork there from Craig Polomata. We don't see it as much these days, but he is very, very sharp off the right foot. And Menzies just floating across the field there. Feldy had him covered. Kamali got a shot on him, but couldn't come up with the grab. Now they've got 10 to go.
Hasm from 20 in and about that out. He raises the flags. They're coming back. 20 points to 12, Andrew.
And Ray, not for the first time this year as we watch the try back again. The Bulldogs lift has come with the injection of their players off the bench. I reckon they've got the best mileage out of the players off the bench this year of any side in the competition. Today it's been Ward, it's been Feeney, Dennis Scott out there as well. You think back earlier in the season, Paul Rahihi coming off the bench, Willie Mason when he was a bench player. They've always made an impact, and the players that have come on today have really lifted this side.
Barry Ward has become a bit of a hero, particularly in the commentary box. Lends himself to quite a bit of alliteration. Ben Walker. Just a little bit of a little bit of quiet has come over the stadium. This was a joyous occasion for just about everybody except those in blue and white, but they are the visitors. They were down 20-0 and nobody really cared about them. Now they're back to 20-12, and it's funereal almost, isn't it?
Well, over the years, the Bulldogs are a team that really do take up a challenge, and you just had the feeling that even though things were going against them early, that they would accept the challenge. They've done it. Now they get a little bit of a sniff of blood in their nostrils. They feel as though they can really win this game.
Tricky Trindle with a kick, and oh, a good tackle by Trindle. There's an appeal from one of the Eagles for a high shot. Trindle kicked and chased, and he absolutely ironed Miles out. Arms and legs went everywhere, and the Eagles with it on the halfway line. Now Evans has had, no, he's lost it cold according to the referee.
Well, the Eagles players, they are bewildered. Jeff Tuber was probably the closest man to the tackle being made. There it comes loose. They'll think that is justice, because they had no doubt it was stripped in a two-man tackle.
So Walker challenges the line, but Anasta puts him on his back. Tuvey, Muir, head bandage now. Gee, there's been some big hits in this game. Stringer, able to stand, finding O'Mealy, and Polomata keeps driving, eventually winning that battle. Now Kamali, inside ball for Brendan Reeves, and Reeves is tackled by Darren Britt. 15 from the line. Menzies rolls it into the end goal. It'll go dead. Just a little bit too much breakfast on it. 20-12.
And Dennis Scott will breathe a sigh of relief. His team was on a roll, and he came up with a silly lost possession there that gave the Eagles a chance for a little bit of glory. They've defended it. They've got to get the game out of their own half of the field now and back down the other end. 5
minutes to go, first half, with Howland taking it more towards the centre of the park. There's the opposition half percentages. The Dogs have been down there 60% as opposed to 40%. It's a little bit hard to believe, isn't it? This man has been tremendous in the beaten side thus far. Now there's a problem. He gets it away. He does get it away, but it goes to ground off Shane Martini's fingertips. Created the extra man. The overlap was there. It just had to be caught. Now the Eagles have given it back to them. Well, they're being quite gentlemanly, aren't they? You make a mistake, we'll do the same back for you. It's tit for tat. Now it's a penalty to the blue and whites.
Well, the discipline has gone out of both teams here. Dropping the ball, throwing it away, first, second tackle. This time Brett Kamali is penalised for raking the football out with his hand, trying to get away with a sneaky one. And what a remarkable turnaround. If the Bulldogs make them pay here, we could have a 2018 scoreline at the break.
Darren Britt. Now Jamie Feeney. Feeney's got an arm free. He takes, they pick him up and drive him into the ground. Feeney is injured. Bailey is the tackler. It's a case of watch this space.
Well, the good news is that the man tackle has got to his feet. We're a fair distance away from it, but
he's up above the parallel,
very dangerous.
Penalty, all right. Comes down on his head, can be worse for you, okay? Just don't lift and turn. It's on report.
Yeah, it's on report, the tackle from Bailey on Feeney. Let's have a look at it. Feeney just would not go down. And then Bailey throws him over the hip, and my God, that was lucky for Jamie Feeney. And they've gone for a barge over try, and I think they've got it. Polomata said, I've got it. The Dogs are in, and a conversion attempt to come.
Well, Polomata, they've taken the tap. He's gone across. He believes that he's got the ball over, but Craig Polomata is the kind of bloke who would like to tell the referee he has by his actions. Let's have a look. This should be the good angle. Here we go. Polamatta diving in low. Fronted by a couple of defenders. Well, it looks like the point of the ball was on the ground.
Yeah, he's very, very confident. Just as they got, just as they got that penalty, and the referee was making the caution, a number of the Bulldogs players turning around, looking at the bench. What will we do? Take the 2 points to get within 6 or chance our arm? Polamatta made a good try out of a right foot step that time with a left foot jink. Found some lazy Northern Eagles defenders. I don't know that any of these angles really give you a great guide as to he got it down, but he seems to be free here, and he's very, very confident when he gets up that the ball is on the ground. It's on the ground there.
I've got to say, just on that previous incident, I can't remember the last time I was at a game of rugby league where my heart was in my mouth like it was with that tackle.
I seem to go back to a match at WIN Stadium. I can't remember the players, but that's the last time I shivered like I did just then.
Exactly. It was a very, very bad moment.
Well, there's a lot of deliberation over this.
The point of the ball is on the ground there, just under the head of Craig Polamatta.
Well, I've got no doubt whether he thinks that's the second effort, but gee whiz, it was a very quick, short space of time after the initial impact to get over the line. I think he's got to give a try out of this.
He has. 20 points to 16. What a half of football. 20 points to 0. I think I said with 17 minutes to go in the first half. And they've come back. And now they're just 4 behind. And El Masri, I venture, is going to kick this. It'll be 20 points to 18.
As we said earlier, when it was 20-0, the key to the Bulldogs was defence, and they've really muscled up. They've started to hurt. They've turned the ball over the Northern Eagles as a result of that big defence. It's given the Bulldogs some opportunities, and on the back of great defence, they've come up with some good options and some good play. And now at 20 to 18, game on.
Ray, don't look next door. You know those furrows on Peter Sharp.
The ravines now, are they? Oh, have a look at them. El Masri to convert the try, scored by Craig Polamatta, and to continue the revival that he started. This man, El Masri, with an intercept that just stopped the flow. Here he comes and boots it towards those northern uprights. And so it is 20 points to 18. Half time is 2 minutes away. Quite an incredible turnaround here, Andrew.
And Ray, Jamie Feeney came to the bench after that Bailey tackle. Now that doesn't count as an interchange because the player was put on report. And Jamie Feeney, since he has come to the bench, he's been stretching his neck. He's okay. He's been given the all clear. He will return in the second half.
Well, I can assure you that my heart did a couple of beats on the same spot. I honestly feared for the kid. And I wish I could think of who it was at WIN Stadium the last time I thought the very worst that happened in front of my eyes. It was a very dangerous act. As Walker puts that kick very high, very much on purpose, giving his runners plenty of hang time. Played there by Trindle. And now Big Mason, who probably found the going a little bit too hectic early. In the early part of the game, he was beaten conclusively by Kamali. He'll probably enjoy this second spell in the game, Willie Mason. We know he's got a lot of talent.
Well, of course, Willie Mason came into the side last week off the bench. He's beaten up with man. He's just tried over McDougall on a 10-yard run. Glenn Hughes on the sideline out injured. Mason into the starting lineup. Dennis Scott onto the bench the last 2 weeks. Brendan Reeves takes us into probably the last set of 6 in this first half. Lenny Beckett coming in to help.
Has Darren Britt had a break?
No.
It's been a solid effort by the big prop. He's heading for St Helens, of course. And I notice from this morning's news that Darren Smith has been given permission to negotiate. elsewhere. Paul Stringer, he got a try early in that smorgasbord of tries that were on for the Eagles. Here's Walker, and now Kamali with the siren in the background. Adam Muir's got the ball and taken it to ground. That is the end of a crazy half of football. It had plenty though. A lot of tries. The Eagles building up a 20-0 lead. There were some hammer-like tackles in the opening exchanges. Some brilliant cover defence, particularly from Tuvey, and then a magnificent fight back by the Bulldogs. It is 20 points to 18. The Eagles lead them at half-time. NorthPower Stadium on Brisbane water. That high kick-off, and Menzies up there, Kazali. Wonderful athleticism, perfect judgment. And they go immediately onto the attack. O'Mealy will play it from there, 12 metres out in the centre of the ground. And now his partner in crime, Paul Stringer. That elevated kickoff gave Menzies a tremendous chance. Now that came down, I fancy, off the hand of Reeves. I would have thought there was a little knock on there.
I thought it touched the Bulldogs' hand, Ray, coming to make the tackle.
Won't argue with you. It's away now for Bailey. Bailey within a metre of the line. Fifth tackle. And it's Walker. Oh, how about Willie Mason? He was fielding it silly mid-off. And it's landed in his big hand and it's stuck. Britt. Smith. Now Scott. And the sound of the whistle from Paul Simpkins sees the Dogs come away from their own danger zone, their red zone.
Well, he gave Mark O'Mealy a chance here, the referee. About there, he said leave the leg alone, but well, it's taken out. And all of a sudden, that good start from the kick-off has turned into some defence.
Barry Ward running into a solid tackle from Adam Muir. Now Darren Brett. Trindle had to go back to regather. Strangely enough, he was able to then make up the lost leeway, and he had no objection from the defence for a long time. Here's Mason! 20 metres out from the line, playing it back for Darren Smith. He works towards El Masri. Smith to play the ball. 5 metres from the line. 5 metres in from the corner. El Masri, Trindle, Anasta, Ward. Trying to get a pass away. Middle of the ground, 10 metres out, last tackle. Anasta, the big dummy, he spins, he tries to get it over. And that's the turnover. That is wonderful defence there by the Eagles. They shouldered right up. So the Eagles come away off their own line as we go to Andrew to find out what he was able to find out at half-time.
Well, Ray, firstly, the bad news for the Northern Eagles, I can tell you they're down one interchange player for this second half. Wayne Evans won't be back. There he is going up the tunnel. He has a fractured rib that happened just before half-time. He won't be back today. From Peter Sharp, he said, we have to stay physical against the Bulldogs. He thought the team's intensity dropped in the first half the moment the two front rowers came off. O'Mealy in the 18th minute and Stringer in the 23rd. We can't just rely on those two to give us our starch. And from Steve Folkes, dominate the rucks both with and without the ball. Ball security inside our own half imperative.
So the Eagles then, Benny Walker with a long run. The pass is okay. Miles heading for the corner. And Howland brings him down 3 metres short. Ben Walker again, long cut-out pass, away now. And it's Kamali, touched by the Dogs. Bailey is with it, 6 more tackles. Muir counting numbers. Has a go himself. The Eagles off to the open side for Kamali to link with Stringer. Stringer's beaten a couple of tired players before he was held a couple of metres out from the line by Patton. Now Dunley is on. The ball has been dropped by the Eagles.
Yeah, but it was good bustle by the Bulldogs. They regrouped well, got back on their line. This is the break by Walker downfield. This was a miraculous pass. Good pass, this one. Right across the top of the defence and finds a flying Robbie Miles. With socks down, heads towards the corner. Howland comes up with a good wingers covering tackle. Shortly after that, they were awarded 6 again, but the Bulldogs didn't drop their bundle. Kept regrouping in defence. Setting up a line, getting up and bustling Kamali. Defenders coming in and driving. Polamatta playing his part there to disrupt the proceedings. And they've dodged another bullet.
Penalty was against the Eagles. I fancy for not retiring. Ben Walker.
Ben Walker, eh?
Yeah.
He goes, well, yeah, he's down there very, very early. All game, Ben Walker has played halfback at the opposition feed, and Kamali goes out to 5'8" in defence.
Scott. Headgear, jumper 14. As I said to you last weekend, they have a lot of players that wear headgear, and when they take the headgear off, you say to yourself, who the hell's that? Darren Smith now away for Willie Mason, and Mason is up to the halfway line. He's got the arm free. There's the ball. It went forward. Advantage man, Northern Eagles. Menzies to play it. Penalty. I don't know why they hung around in there, the Dogs.
That's dumb play by the Bulldogs. He's a good player, Willie Mason. This wasn't on. It wasn't on. He had to tuck that in and go to ground. His team's been under pressure. Throws a bad pass. Menzies forces the turnover. Now they exaggerate the mistake by conceding a penalty in the play of the ball, and back come the Eagles for another shot.
I've got 10, look at 10.
Really?
Line lit up.
20 metres away from the line, the Eagles attacking again. Adam Muir. Walker. 16. Shane Dunley. Stringer. Most of his runners had gone. Pulled down eventually by Anasta. Now it's away for Walker. Then Kamali. Kamali kicks for Menzies. Menzies is over. Steve Menzies scores. Beautifully put together. Lovely anticipation, understanding, and this prolific try scorer, Steve Menzies.
Yeah, it's a deliberate kick, isn't it? So he frees it there. Let's have a look at the chasers on the outside. You can see all onside behind the kicker as play continues. Slides through. Steve Menzies, well, he's played plenty of centre. He's got the speed of a back. And that caught the Bulldogs out because they did kick early in the count, which means the Bulldogs were coming up very quickly.
Yeah, the Bulldogs' right-hand defence, it's renowned for its up-and-in style. Trindle, El Masri, I would say that's a play that they practiced long and hard at training this week to combat the fact that they like to get up in their face. It's beautiful when those things work out. Kamali got himself to second receiver on purpose. Menzies on the outside. Knew there was no passing on. Knew it was going to be the grubber kick. He was this bloke wouldn't be out of place in Origin football either. He can score you a try and he can save you one. Stephen Menzies.
Well, Philly's only one try away from equaling the great Bob McCarthy in second place on the all-time list of premiership try scorers. Forwards I'm talking about. As Walker from 20 metres out, it's very high, it's there, the flags are up. So the Eagles again nudge away, 26-18 up on the Dogs. Stephen Menzies just one try away from Bob McCarthy becoming the second highest try scorer, forward that is, in premiership history. The record, the top of the list, stands to the credit of Frank Burge, the Glebe and St George forward, back between 1911 and 1927. He had a long career, didn't he? Frank.
Well, he scored so many tries, they probably wanted to keep him around, Ray, I'd say.
Played by Muir. Now Kamali gets a kick in. It's a good kick too. And it's... No, it wouldn't go. Luke Patton was looking at it, and it would not bounce over the line.
And that's a great result for Brett Kamali and his team. You don't want those to go out. Now they can really get some defence going against the opposition and get them to waste some tackles. If it goes over the sideline, a scrum for the Bulldogs. But now we've already got 4 against them and they're still within their 20.
And a mistake like that only further helps the cause. They're going to be kicking, you would think, from inside their own 20-metre line. This is the last now. And Anasta kicks from 15 metres out from his own line. It was a good kick, I've got to say that. Reeves brings it back off his 30-metre line. Beckett will play it.
Well, that's still a wonderful result. If you can come up with a football on kick return inside your opponent's half, it's a tremendous springboard. The Eagles now take it forward with O'Mealy. Good metres again, and an offload to Reeves.
Another offload, this time to Dunley. 31 metres out from the Dogs' line. And an 8-point ball game as Muir strides up to the 20-metre line. Walker's there. And Ben Walker made to play the ball just outside the 10-metre line. Played back to Adam Muir. Now away to Shane Dunley. Now Brett Kamali. Stephen Menzies is with it, and he's hammered into the ground. Trindle again with a strong tackle. Kamali. Patton is after it, and he lets it go over the dead ball line. He must have had mixed thoughts, though. He handled it very well. Luke Patton, the fullback for the Canterbury side. Barry Ward with a strong run out to the 30-metre line. And now for Darren Britt, just a catch and pass. The Dogs roll it out through their forwards. Polomata links up with the left centre, Talau. Talau comes back to the centre, links up with Anasta, and that is Darren Smith, I believe. 40 metres out, Talau. Trindle finds an opening. Trindle takes it up to the 30-metre line. So it's been a wonderful set, this set for Canterbury. Britt now. 5th tackle down on the Eagles' 20-metre line. Trindle shaped a kick, runs, puts a kick in, it'll be too deep. And a penalty goes to the Dogs. He was taken out, was he?
I think Brendan Reeves is the culprit, Ray. Didn't it open up? They just overread it again. They expected Darryl Trindle to kick. He did eventually, but it was the wrong side of the line for the Eagles. Let's just see who gets him. Kicks, it was always too long. And there, Brendan Reeves definitely played at him right in front of the referee. This turned out pretty silly play because the ball was always going long and there were some Eagles players coming back.
Interesting decision to kick for goal. Just before half-time, they were down 20-12, an 8-point gap. They elected to tap it and go for the try. Polomata scored. Again, they're faced with an 8-point gap. 26 minutes left on the clock. They want to take the 2 points and get within 6. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this contest.
Phil and Peter, I wouldn't have been surprised, and I know it's a crazy way of thinking, but that's the mentality that we have. If this match had have had 6 minutes to go, I wouldn't have been surprised if people would have been screaming for a professional foul on Reeves and a sin bin. But because we're quite a way out from the finish, there never seems to be a cry for why no professional foul. So it is El Masri who raises the flags. We are back to 26-20 in favour of the Eagles. 54 minutes gone. My point rather simple, I guess. A professional foul is a professional foul at no matter what time in the game it occurs. And I've got no doubt that Brendan committed one there. And he got away with just a simple penalty.
There we go, Ben.
26-20. Tuvey back. Great first half for the little fella. Walker's had an outstanding game. Oh, that's okay. He left the field of play, batted it back in field, but to his dismay, Menzies has come up with the football. So, from Manly's 2 restarts in the second half, Menzies has finished up with both of them. Now it's Bailey. The Eagles, 10 metres out from the line. Kamali using stringer. Tuvey now. Tuvey. Held up in goal. That's still a pretty good decision for the Eagles.
Well, it's amazing that he is held up because he was sliding towards the line. Here we see from the kickoff again, and the Bulldogs had to address that at half-time. The Eagles did give them a number of warning shots in the first half with those types of kickoffs. It's the second time they've come up with the football, and Tuvey here throws a dummy. They hang off him. He actually gets down pretty low, and he's nearly on the ground now, forcing his way to the game, but Luke Patton is able to hold him up.
It's out.
So here they come again. Reeves running off Kamali. 9 metres out from the line. 17 is Ebril. Dogs. Very much under pressure here as Kamali tries to get between them. And Anasta and Talau shut him down. Walker a dummy half away for Reeves. Reeves for O'Mealy. O'Mealy to the line goes the big man. And he too, I think, is held up.
Well, it's great stuff, isn't it, from both sides? 6 are different. The Eagles straining to get the ball over the line. First it was the little man Tuvey, now the big man, the ogre, Mark O'Mealy, trying to get the ball down. He had 3 or 4 goes. And they'll have another chance now with the scrum feed, 10 out in front of the posts.
The further it went, the further it got away from the ground for the ogre. It's a nice name to call him.
Mate, it's a term of endearment. It's a nickname.
I hope so.
You can't say that.
I hope so. You had a look at yourself? That's you running around calling people ogres.
Have a few more feeds, we might look fairly similar.
This Tuvey being held up. This was their first go. And they've bent him over backwards. Now they come again. Take 3 for McDougall. Walker. Ebril has a dig. Aaron Britt. Unrested, working hard. Kamali inside for Muir. 9 metres out from the line. Tuvey to the right. The dummy. The second man angling in as O'Mealy. The ogre. Now from Tuvey, it's away for Ben Walker. He comes back. He's running backwards. And they take him to ground. Mason and Trindle. Tuvey for Muir. I don't know. Touch judge says yes. Referee points to the spot. And the Eagles fans like it. 30 points to 20.
It's been a while coming, hasn't it? 3 or 4 sets of 6 in a row. This was the last tackle. The Bulldogs had held out magnificently, and they appeared as though they'd kept Adam Muir at bay, but it was perseverance. Trampling over players, straining to get the ball down. He's over the line there, right in front of the touch judge, and he's the only man who could have adjudicated here because the referee couldn't see from where he was. Behind that board of players, Adam Muir has been deemed to have got the football down over the line.
We've just got to question whether or not here Andrew King actually impedes El Masri from lending a hand in this tackle. Now, El Masri wants to come in. King's in his way, and El Masri would have been very, very handy on the left arm there of Muir as he was struggling to get the ball. El Masri was denied any sort of reasonable position there to assist in the tackling of Muir. And I dare say that if King hadn't have impeded, El Masri could have held him up.
Third try of the year for Adam Muir. Former Newcastle Knight, one of the many players that the Eagles would dearly love to keep. But now that he's made Origin again, I'm starting to wonder whether the Eagles can hopefully keep Adam Muir. Try awarded, and that blood coming through that bandage on the head of Adam Muir. He may have to be redressed. Walker will attempt conversion from 2 metres in and 25 out.
We mentioned on a couple of occasions how the Northern Eagles can go to sleep during matches. Well, the problem for the Bulldogs is they've conceded almost twice as many tries in the second half this year. 39 second half tries compared to only 20 in the first 40. So their second 40 minutes in defence has been poor.
That's the equation for Ben Walker. And again, referee calling timeout.
He kicks the ball higher than any goal kicker I think I've ever seen. Ben Walker puts it up on a really big tee. The ball floats high, usually straight. Looks like a cut-off witch's hat there, not one of the Darryl Halligan specialty models. It's a self-made model. The ball goes extremely high. Watch this, up above the uprights.
Time back on. And there it goes, and it's away to the right. So Walker fails, 30 points to 20. It's still a nice lead with 19 to go, Andrew.
Yeah, well done, Adam Muir, getting the try. But on the lighter side, you got a feel for the two blokes who went close. Look at little Jeff Tuvey, turned 32 last Sunday. Ray, he hasn't scored a try since round 18, 1998. And then Mark O'Mealy today, playing his 49th game in first grade, is still yet to get a 4-pointer. And look at how close he goes in this one. Adam Muir gets the spoils, but O'Mealy, Tuvey, they're ruining their bad luck.
So Braithen Astor kicks off for the Dogs.
That's fine, let him stand up.
When we analyse this game down the track. Oh, here's a clean break made by the Eagles. Gary Ebril it is, or Greg Ebril. And now Kamali tries to carry it on.
3 now, let him up.
Just outside the Dogs' 40-metre line. And Paul Stringer runs it back up the middle. Reaches 30. Tuvey, they got numbers down here. Kamali puts a kick in. Came off Martini, and Darren Smith was offside.
Yeah, he was definitely offside, Darren. He didn't want to fall on the ball. That's Smith there in the headgear. The kick from Kamali comes off Martini's foot. He knows he shouldn't touch it. He tries to pretend he's got back onside, but doesn't fool the referee.
Chance here for the Eagles to all but wrap it up. Still plenty of time, but they've got a 10-point lead.
That's one.
Another 6 points here would be handy. Tuvey. Now it's Walker. Reeves. Reeves has stepped through.
Let him go, let him
Metre
go.
from the line.
Hands out.
Well, he's offside, Trindle. Now Walker for Kamali, knocked down by El Masri.
Play on, 6-4.
Back with Menzies. Heavens above, I would have thought that he should have played an advantage and then given the penalty to the Eagles. Trindle was offside at the play of the ball.
You've just got to throw a dummy on El Masri. He'll knock it down or pick it up every time.
Here's Tuvey for Menzies, and Menzies tackled by Sherwin. Tuvey again. They keep pumping away at the line. Stringer up the middle. Put down by Mason and Trindle. Now Kamali, and intercepted by Anasta. Anasta's on his way. Talau is with him. It's a foot race. Here's Miles. He gets the ball to Talau. Miles is after him. Talau tackled. Great chase by Robert Miles. Now the Dogs. Well, Howland didn't quite know what to do with it. He gave it to Darren Britt eventually. Braithen Astor. What a stupid pass. Now Sherwin. About a lollipop. Mason. Sherwin. Dummies again. Now it's back to Anasta. Anasta able to beat one. 9 metres out from the line. It's a penalty. Penalty to the Dogs.
Ben Walker was off. Ben Walker was... Hands off, hands off. Walk it apart, Ben Walker. On the line.
Trindle.
Let him up.
So now the Dogs apply similar pressure at the other end of the park. Brent Sherwin pulled down.
This is where I'm looking for Big Willie Mason on the right-hand side to try and latch onto the right pass.
And here it comes in his direction. And it's with Reardon, back for Darren Smith, back for Hazem El Masri. Goes across the ground, 12 metres out from the line. Was pulled down eventually by Lima. Anasta. And it is with Price. Now Howland will dive. No, he doesn't. He misses by a metre. Howland seems certain to dive over. Trindle. Sherwin. Darren Smith. Sherwin's over. Brent Sherwin scores for the Dogs.
How did you see that pass? How did you see Darren Smith pass that ball?
I just didn't guess.
Well, the Eagles are claiming that it was forward. Here's the intercept. Braith Anasta. One thing about Braith Anasta, he hasn't got blinding speed, but he did run 60 or 70 here, and Robert Miles did a fantastic job. He handled 2 of them. Went off Anasta, then made the try saver on the fullback, on the centre Talau. And then the Eagles claim that this pass from Darren Smith, who throws about 2 or 3 dummies before offloading, went forward. Let's have a look at it. He picks it up, throws an inside dummy. That's fallen for by King. Steps another player. Wrestles to get his arm free. Well, that looked fine. Too much wrong with it.
I think we can call that sleight of hand. Sherwin didn't pick up his runner. Brett knocks Kamali out of the way. That's fair enough. The ball goes loose. Good work here by Smith. Don't pass the ball with your back turned. It fools the Northern Eagles defence, and beautiful awareness to know that he had a player in Sherwin backing up from behind and just pops it out. I didn't see that one. Ray Warren called it. I didn't see it. But here come the Doggies again.
I've got to say that in relation to his body, the pass looked okay to me. Certainly you couldn't stand there and say it was a forward pass.
Very unusual the way that Steve Fakes uses Brent Sherwin. He did it last week. He only brings him on for the last 20 minutes of matches. Very little game time. But obviously he's looking for that impact in the last quarter of the game from his inside back.
El Masri then, with a relatively simple kick at goal. It is successful. 30 points to 26. High scoring. 68th minute in favour of the Northern Eagles. Who is Mr. Whipple? Time called out. A real close one here at NorthPower Stadium. 30 points to 26, the home side in front. They led 20 points to 0 at one stage. They led by 2 points at the break. Then they kicked away again to lead by 10. And now they're in front by 4. The only thing that has been common is that the Dogs have been playing catch-ups all day. Feeney.
And already this year, Ray, the Eagles have scored 30 points in a match and been defeated. That was against the Warriors. 34-30. You think if you score 30, you'd be safe. Far from that at the moment as we go into the last 12 minutes of this game. Brendan Reeves takes it 25 out from his own line.
Lenny Beckett. 30 metres out from his line. Played back for Tuvey to use Danny Lima.
I think I'm right in saying, Sterlo, too, they've actually won a lot of games conceding 30 points. They're always in high-scoring contests. This one's no different.
Newer. Dogs. They've lost only one game in 10 matches away from home this year. It's a very imposing record. Will they keep that intact today? As El Masri offers good ground out to his own 10-metre line. Martini gets it almost to 20. 10.5 minutes to go. 4 points the difference. The Eagles leading, and Darren Britt just surges on. Sherwin read well. Players coming up quick on the outside. Talau makes a good run down the left side. And his support basically dropped off him. Feeney pushing it across to Sherwin. Sherwin on for Trindle. Trindle away from El Masri and then out to Darren Smith. He flick passes inside for Martini, and Martini plays the ball 29 metres out from the line. El Masri, oh, beautiful pass. Darren Smith is over. They are all level. Was there a high shot in trying to prevent the tackle?
It was very high. Brendan Reeves. He cleaned up Darren Smith. Although Darren's gone across the try line to wrap the contest up, he might have something to answer here, Brendan Reeves. Here's Talau getting on the outside of Walker. A set of 6 here again where the Bulldogs have come the length of the field. So often in this game, both sides have picked up 80 or 90 metres every time they've had a set.
Watch the pass from Hazim El Masri. Trindle down the short side. El Masri finally gets back on his wing. What's that one? Whoosh. That's David Campese.
Oh, geez, don't give them any more publicity, Gus, please.
Well, we can give Campese publicity. He was one of the greats. He also, I remember, look, what's this for a pass? Shapes the kick and just pops it over his right-hand shoulder. And around comes Darren Smith, who kept himself alive. Now he tries to step back inside Brendan Reeves. Last line of defence, throws his arm out. Oh, gets him around the chin. Darren Smith has injured himself in scoring the try, but Hazim El Masri.
Well, I would have thought that there has to be some suggestion of an 8-pointer. He's gone on report. But if you foul a player in the act of scoring a try, I thought there was still a thing in this game called an 8-point try. There's not many damn rule changes. I'm positive it's still there.
It's still there, and you've raised a very good argument there, because Darren Smith was going to score the try. He is dead set cop one right across the chin or the nose. Darren Smith is not the kind of player who stays down for the sake of.
I'll go a step further. What if Smith drops the ball because of the high tackle? Do you want to give him a penalty try? We won't go there.
I thought we saw that in a grand final.
Yeah, we did.
I'm still very inquisitive of what happened to the 8-point try. I mean, this is 30 points all. Hazim El Masri could miss this. If there was such a thing as an 8-point try, he would go back to the centre of the ground for another shot.
Straight in front, and he would not miss that one. So yeah, it's a valid point, and it'll be interesting in the aftermath of this game. It will be a discussion point, but Hazim El Masri has a chance here to just put the icing on the cake of that wonderful ball to set Smith up for the try. Can he put his team in front for the first time this afternoon? Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. Look at that scoreboard. 5 tries, 5 goals, both sides. Now El Masri, 21 out. It looks good. He's going to get it. Hazim El Masri. Hazim El Majid converts the try. 32-30. The Dogs in front, Andrew.
And Ray, I can tell you, we're not far away from where this play unfolded. Hazim El Masri, it was shades of Andrew John's 97 grand final. He called the play, shot down the blind side, got the pass from Trindle, and Darren Smith gets up, scores the try. And what about Hazim? Hazim El Magic again does it for the Bulldogs.
Well, talk about value per square inch. What about him, El Masri?
He's Tripoli's favourite rugby league son.
Just have a look at Ben Walker here, piling the sand up. He's called for the sand boy again. He's got enough sand out there to fill a beach, but he's called for more. to get this up as high as he possibly can to try and get the ball back for his football team.
Tell you what, if this,
he's been taking pottery classes, Ben Walker.
He'll want to hurry. He'll want to hurry. There's a high tide coming in.
He's putting little turrets in it now.
Righto.
How's he going to get the ball to balance on that? My God, a breath of wind and it blows over.
He goes straight underneath it. It could be embarrassing.
There's 1,000 kids out there in a moment thinking there's a game of sandcastles on. There it is. It's up there. Menzies got a checkered passage. Well, it didn't take them long to learn, the Dogs. They eventually realised that it'd be high and Menzies would be chasing. And they put plenty of troops between the ball kicker and Menzies. It was like a flag bending race.
Just looked at Peter Sharp again. It's Grand Canyon.
Yes. Sitting next to the Manly Northern Eagles coach. I apologise again, but those furrows on the brow are deepening. Sherwin.
Now the first time in the game that the Bulldogs have been in front. Still 6 minutes left on the clock. There's hardly been 6 minutes go by in this game without a score from one of the two teams. Do they try to protect the 2 points? Do they think they can defend their way to winning the game? Or will they keep positive, as they have been, in chasing the big total?
2v. $20-0, they led by. Now they're trailing by 2. And Muir loses it. No, it's been stripped. It's a penalty. The Eagles get a chance.
No, it was a rake.
That's exactly what the Eagles wanted. Darren Britt realised how important it is. He's telling the referee to have a look at the big screen. Definitely Craig Polamatta had his hand there, raked it out, and then tried to cover it up.
O'Mealy. Meet him on the ad line. 30 metres out. Muir. Kamali waits. Walker's outside him. And Walker gets it on the second bounce. And that's a knock-on, and the Bulldogs will get the advantage of it. They haven't got the ball, apparently. So it'll be loose head and feed for the Dogs with 4.5 minutes to go.
Isn't it funny how one bad pass usually leads to another one? Pass from dummy half, bounced twice along the ground. It was picked up, and then a pass behind Ben McDougall. He couldn't get it, propelled the ball forward. He's not happy with it. Sometimes when you catch a bad pass, it's best just to cut your losses. Get on with the game.
This man has been strong today. It's been a strange old career with the Dogs, Willie Talau, but today, both in defence and attack, I think he's been quite strong.
Well, he was on the bench not so many weeks ago, and probably only in the starting lineup because Nigel Vunganar is out injured.
Britt. Talking of Vunganar and Talau, our test coverage is coming up soon, but Origin 1 next weekend, that's the big one. There's the test match on July 13, but Origin 3, I should say, next Sunday, live and exclusive at 7:30 on the wide world of sports from ANZ Stadium. The news is that Lockie is going to play now. As that kick goes up and down into one place, and Miles goes miles above them to come down with the ball.
Yeah, good boy, Robbie Miles. Backed his ability there. Plenty of people standing around not sure whether to take it. He had no doubt.
Kamali put away, 3.5 minutes from time. Walker, and that is Bailey. O'Mealy, 40 metres away from the Bulldogs try line. They've got 3 minutes left. Pass was doubtful then to Muir. Tuvey with blood coming from a scalp wound, and then he gets a pass inside, and Trindle is there to pick it up for the Dogs. Trindle in back play, minding his own business.
He was a touch unlucky, Jeff Tuvey. If the pass found its mark, they were a real chance. Steve Price now takes his team out of trouble. Good run over the halfway line. Now the Bulldogs, they play smart football, really should just wind this one down.
32-30 in favour of the Dogs. Howland tackled on the 20-metre line. Sherwin looking for a call, runs to the blind. Britt comes back, gets a ball away. Howland, it's gone behind Patton, scooped up by Anasta, and Martini will play the ball. Anasta, Sherwin looking for the kick. Menzies is there looking for it as well, and Stephen Menzies will play the ball. 2 minutes to go. 2 points the margin. The Dogs in front for the first time in the game.
Rugby league is a game of inches, isn't it? The Bulldogs would have loved that to have gone into the in-goal area. Steve Menzies just brought it back in the field of play, giving his side a last gasp chance, grabbing this game.
McDougall gets a pass away. Walker sprinting down the field. Here comes Hazem El Masri and Willie Talau. Walker's tackled 38 metres out from the Dogs line. Can they do it? Can the Eagles make it? Kamali. McDougall. Bootlace tackle brings him down.
Last tackle.
10 metres away from the line. Kamali. He kicks across the park and it's too deep. The Dogs will get home now. 1 minute to go. Too big off the boot of Kamali.
Here was a break by Walker again. El Masri in cover defence, coming from his right-hand wing. Walker decides he hasn't got the pace to make it. Talau chasing back. They did a good job to regroup the Bulldogs, not to incur a try in the next couple of tackles. And then Kamali must have been very, very tempted not to kick, but to run the ball on the last play. 45 seconds, 44, 43. They'll have to get to a kick, put it deep as far as they can down the other end of the field.
That interchange for the Dogs, is that correct? They've only made 7. That must be an all-time record low number of interchanges.
That's a good thing, isn't it, if the coach has got enough confidence in the way his troops are going out there, not to feel compelled to make a change just because he can.
Anasta. Well, I don't think Darren Britt's had a rest. That does surprise me. Just 7 uses. They roll it over the sideline, and the game is over. The Bulldogs of Canterbury have beaten the Northern Eagles 32 points to 30 after trailing 20 points to 0. 20 minutes into the game, the Eagles were scoring at a point a minute. It was 20 points to 18 at half-time. Then the Eagles got away again to 30 points to 20 in front. The Dogs coming back to win 32 points to 30.